July 1st is one of those dates that doesn't sound dramatic until it touches your real life. It's not fireworks. It's not a holiday. It's a line on the calendar that quietly flips switches in state systems across the country. And for a lot of Americans over 60, that switch doesn't feel like a new law. It feels like a letter that arrives saying your premium changed, your benefit needs renewal, your property tax bill looks different, your utility costs jump, or a program you've depended on suddenly wants a document you didn't know you needed. If you've ever opened your mail and felt your chest tighten before you even read the first sentence, you already understand why I'm making this video. This is not meant to scare you. It's meant to do the opposite. Because the families who suffer the most when rules change aren't careless families. They're good families who didn't know. July 1st is a common effective date for new state laws, new state budgets, and policy updates that can ripple into healthcare costs, benefits paperwork, and everyday bills. And the people who do best are not the richest people. They are the people who take one calm afternoon to do a July checkup before the changes hit their mailbox. So today I'm going to walk you through what July 1st typically triggers in the real world for people 45 to 65, and especially for those of you over 60. What kinds of rules tend to change, what deadlines get missed, how the system actually works, where to check your specific state updates from official sources, and the simple stacking strategy that can protect your budget if your costs rise this summer. And please stay with me to the end, because I'm going to share the #1 hidden move that can save many seniors more money than any single discount or one-time relief program. Something most people don't learn until they've overpaid for years. Before we begin, comment your age and your biggest struggle right now. Just a few words. Medical bills, prescriptions, rent, food, retirement timing, caregiving, scams, or property taxes. When you comment 71 prescriptions or 67 rent, it helps me aim these updates where they're actually needed. And a quick disclaimer, I'm a senior benefits educator, not your attorney or financial advisor. I'm sharing general education and how to verify changes using official sources like your state legislature website, your state Medicaid agency, Medicare.gov, SSA.gov, and your county assessor. Your exact rules depend on your state and county. Now let's talk about why July 1st matters so much. In many states, July 1st is the start of the fiscal year. That means it's a common date for new budgets to take effect. And budgets aren't just spreadsheets. Budgets change what programs can do, what benefits are funded, what eligibility rules are applied, what outreach happens, what contracts change, what providers accept, and what paperwork is required. It's also a common effective date for state laws passed earlier in the year. If you've ever heard someone say, that new law starts July 1st, this is why. States choose clean start dates. And the result is that a senior in one state may experience July 1st as nothing happened, while a senior in another state experiences July 1st as my costs changed overnight. So instead of guessing, we're going to treat July 1st like a routine safety check, like checking the smoke detector battery. You don't do it because you expect a fire today. You do it because if something happens, you want the protection already in place. The first area to watch is healthcare costs and coverage administration, especially anything connected to Medicaid and state-administered programs. Medicare is federal, but Medicaid is state-run, and many cost-help programs that seniors rely on, especially for Medicare premiums and out-of-pocket costs, are connected to Medicaid eligibility systems. If you have Medicare and your income is limited, programs like Medicare savings programs can help pay the Part B premium and sometimes other costs. Those programs are administered by states. The rules are not identical everywhere, and when state systems update budgets, staffing, contracts, or verification procedures, seniors feel it as new letters, new renewals, or changes in how quickly things get processed. Here's how it works in the real world. A program like a Medicare savings program can feel invisible when it's working. Your Part B premium is paid, your Social Security check is a little higher than it would be otherwise, and you finally stop feeling like Medicare is eating your whole COLA. But if your renewal gets delayed, or a notice gets missed, or the state asks for proof and doesn't receive it, the help can stop. And you might not realize it until you see the deduction change in your Social Security payment, or until you get a bill you weren't expecting. That's why July is a smart time to make sure your address is current with every agency, your mail is being opened, and you're responding quickly to verification letters. It's not because you did anything wrong. It's because the system often assumes you'll catch every notice, and that's not realistic when you're managing life. Now, the second area to watch is the quiet squeeze that hits seniors every summer: utilities and heat-related expenses. This is not just money, it's health. When electricity costs rise, some older adults keep their home warmer than is safe because they're trying to avoid a bill. Heat can worsen heart conditions, breathing conditions, and dehydration. And dehydration interacts with common medications, especially diuretics and certain blood pressure drugs. So if July brings higher utility bills, it can create a chain reaction that ends in an urgent care visit. That's why I always talk about utility assistance as a senior health tool, not just a finance tool. Here's the mechanism. Many energy assistance programs are seasonal, and in some places, they open or change rules as the year turns. Even when a program isn't changing on July 1st, your local utility may have updated discount programs, payment plans, or shut-off protections that you only get if you ask. This is where older adults lose money and safety. They assume if help existed, they would have been contacted. Usually you must apply. Let me tell you about Teresa, 72, because her story is what happens when you treat programs like they are for someone else. Teresa lives on Social Security and a small widow's benefit. Every summer, she dreaded the power bill. She was skipping air conditioning on the hottest days, and she started feeling dizzy. Her daughter finally called the local community action agency and asked about utility assistance and senior discounts. Teresa was approved for help that lowered the pressure enough that she could keep her home safe. Teresa's result wasn't just saving money. Her result was fewer symptoms, better sleep, and less fear. That's what these programs do when they work. They protect the body through protecting the budget. Now, the third area to watch around July 1st is property taxes and local relief programs. Not because the bill always arrives July 1st, but because deadlines and qualification windows often live in mid-year cycles. Senior exemptions, assessment freezes, circuit breaker credits, these are often local and state programs that can reduce the burden for older homeowners, but they're usually not automatic. A surprising number of eligible seniors never apply. And in a year when costs are rising everywhere, paying an avoidable property tax amount is one of the most painful ways money leaks out. Here's how it works. You can be legally eligible for a senior exemption based on age, residency, and sometimes income. But if you don't file the application by the local deadline, you don't get the savings. Your county doesn't just know to apply it. Some counties have special rules for veterans, disabled homeowners, and surviving spouses that stack with senior relief. Again, it's not about deserving, it's about paperwork and deadlines. I want you to meet Frank, 66. Frank retired early after a back injury. He and his wife owned their home, and they assumed owning the home outright meant they were safe. Then the property tax bill jumped, and suddenly they were house rich but cash poor. Frank called the county assessor and learned that a senior program and a veteran-related benefit could reduce the bill. After applying, the savings weren't small. They were enough that Frank stopped pulling money from a credit card each winter. Frank told me, "It felt like I got my dignity back." That's what housing stability does. It restores dignity. Now, the fourth area to watch is Medicare-related decisions and how seniors get pressured. There's a pattern every year. When costs rise, scam calls and misleading sales tactics rise. And around big calendar dates, July 1st included, scammers love to say, "New rules start today," because it creates urgency. They impersonate Medicare, Social Security, pharmacies, and insurance companies. They want you to feel behind, so you'll hand over information. Your protection is one simple habit. You never verify personal or Medicare information with a caller who contacted you. You hang up and call back using a number you trust, like Medicare.gov's official number or the number on the back of your card. If it's real, it will still be real when you call back. And here's another reality for people over 60. Many changes you experience aren't laws. They're administrative updates. A plan formulary changes, a pharmacy network changes, a premium changes, a provider contract changes. Those things can feel like the law changed because your life changed. The response isn't panic. The response is checking official notices and using free help resources. This is where synergy matters, and I want you to hear this clearly because it can change your entire retirement. If your Medicare costs are crushing you, don't just accept it. Medicare savings programs can lower your Part B premium burden if you qualify. Extra help can lower your Part D prescription costs if you qualify. And here is a synergy most seniors never hear explained. If you qualify for a Medicare savings program through your state, you are often automatically eligible for extra help. That means one application can unlock two major supports: lower premiums and lower prescriptions. That is not a small savings. For some households, it's the difference between taking medication as prescribed and stretching it, which is dangerous. Now, we're about halfway through, and this is where I want to ask you to like and subscribe if this is helpful, because I post seniors news and benefits updates in plain English. And stay with me, because the number one secret is coming. Something you can do before July 1st or any time in July that protects you from missing changes and also helps you claim programs you didn't know you qualified for. Now let's talk about the fifth area that July 1st can trigger: state law changes that affect everyday life for older adults, especially things like consumer protection rules, insurance rules, and transportation rules. I'm not going to claim a single national list of new laws because that would be irresponsible. Laws vary by state, and what changes in Arizona might not change in Ohio. But I am going to tell you the evidence-based way to check what applies to you. Many states publish laws effective July 1st summaries, and national organizations like the National Conference of State Legislatures often track state policy changes and effective dates. Your state legislature's official website is the gold standard for what passed and when it takes effect. If you type your state name plus laws effective July 1st, 2026, and then cross-check with your state legislature or official government site, you can avoid misinformation. Why do I care about this in a seniors benefits channel? Because a small law change can create a big bill. Insurance rules can shift fees. Consumer protection rules can shift what companies can charge. Even changes in how IDs are renewed or how notary services work can affect seniors who are managing benefits paperwork, healthcare, or estate planning. And I want you to notice the pattern. Every one of these areas has a common failure point. People find out after the fact. After the bill arrives, after the deadline passed, after the premium changed, after the renewal window closed. My job is to help you flip that pattern so you find out before the impact. Now, the number one hidden secret I promised is not a magic website, and it's not a paid service. It's a free human resource that most seniors never use until they're already in trouble. Your local area agency on aging and your state's SHIP program, the State Health Insurance Assistance Program. SHIP counselors are trained to help people understand Medicare choices, costs, and enrollment rights. Area agencies on aging connect seniors to local help, food programs, utility assistance, transportation, benefit screening, and sometimes legal aid referrals. This is revolutionary not because it's new, but because it's underused. Most people don't know these exist, and because seniors don't know, they try to solve everything alone, which increases stress and increases the chance of missing a deadline. Here's the hidden power. You don't need to know which program you qualify for before you call. You just need to describe your struggle. My prescriptions are expensive. My Medicare premium is too high. My property taxes are rising. My electricity bill is unbearable. A good counselor can tell you what programs exist in your area, what documents you need, and what the next step is. That one call can stop months of confusion. Now I want to bring this back to emotional truth. When you're over 60, you've survived things that would break younger you. You've raised families, worked through recessions, cared for others, lived through loss, and still shown up. But the modern system can make you feel small because it hides information behind portals, passwords, and fine print. That feeling behind, doesn't mean you're behind. It means the system is not designed for peace. So here's what I want you to do as your July 1st plan in a calm way. Update your address with SSA if you moved. Check your mail for renewal notices if you receive Medicaid, a Medicare Savings Program, SNAP, or any state assistance. Call your county assessor and ask about senior property tax relief and deadlines. If prescriptions are high, check extra help and Medicare savings programs. If your Medicare premiums are higher because your income dropped after retirement, ask about an IRM-AA new determination through Social Security. If utilities are crushing you, ask about LIHEAP and local utility discounts. And if you don't know where to start, call SHIP or your area agency on aging and ask for a benefit screening. Let me end with one last transformation story, because I want you to feel what options looks like. Carol is 75 and she was living on Social Security alone. July used to scare her because electric bills rose and food prices rose at the same time. She started skipping meals so she could keep the lights on. That's not a budgeting issue, that's a survival issue. A counselor helped Carol apply for help with groceries and utilities and also reviewed whether she qualified for prescription assistance. Carol didn't become wealthy. She became stable. She told me, I stopped feeling like I'm one bill away from falling. That is what this channel is about, stability. So comment your age and biggest struggle, and if you take one action after this video, one call, one check, one application, come back and type done. You're not behind, you're not alone. And July 1st doesn't have to be a surprise date on a calendar. It can be the moment you decide to protect your money, your health, and your confidence with information that is finally on your side.